Scorpio, what's going on with you? Come on in, have a seat, make yourself comfortable. Let's cut through the noise and we're ready to start. Get down to what's going on in this love connection of yours. What's going on with you, Scorpio? It's been a minute. Almost died. That's why I've been gone. Turns out our furnace was leaking carbon monoxide, which was what was making me sick, and I had no idea what the hell was wrong. It took me forever to figure out that's what it was. So luckily everything's okay now, and I'm feeling 100% better, so we shouldn't have any more interruptions. What's going on with your person, Scorpio? What's going on with Scorpio's person of interest? It relates to Scorpio and the connect. Okay. Looks like we're taking 3 for this last spot instead of just 1 like we normally get. No big deal. I'll read those together so this doesn't turn into some big long fiasco here. Damn, that's a lot. On the bottom of the deck, the overall energy of the reading is the Magician. This is the master manifester of the tarot deck. This is a person whose thoughts and actions shape the world around them to be in alignment with what their will desires. Now, sometimes this can mean someone is actively trying to create something in their life. Sometimes this is, well, most of the time, this is talking to me about the person whose thoughts and actions have kind of created the whole situation I'm about to read about here. Below the surface of this Magician, we have the 10 of Pentacles. So this is Virgo energy. This is maximum stability, abundance, prosperity. This is that stable life that we all want. It's the combining together of 2 people, 2 families, all their assets and resources to build that stable life together. It's about building a life together. So we have an idea here of trying to create a life together. Yeah, behind that we got King of Pentacles. This isn't looking so bad so far. So good here. This is Taurus energy. This is usually like husband type of an energy here. This can be not necessarily legally married husband, although it can be that. It can be stable, committed person that's building their life around me, whether that's living together, engaged, married, going down that kind of a path. That's usually what that indicates. Now, this can also indicate a business owner, an independent contractor, someone who works for themselves. They're good at building things, building empires in the physical world. Financial stuff, usually they have their finances together. 10 of Pentacles can represent, like I said, maximum stability and abundance. So we could be trying to create some sort of a financial thing here, trying to start a business or something like that. But this is a relationship reading, so I'm taking this as like trying to create this situation where we've combined our lives together with this person, probably representing your person here. Son of a bitch. Spoke too soon. Below the surface of that, we got the Hanged Man. This is Pisces energy. This is about progress being halted, no forward movement happening, things being stuck, being at a dead standstill. The Hanged Man is hanging upside down because he's trying to look at things from a different perspective than he normally would, a different point of view than he would normally look at things from. Typically, we do that when everything that we've tried so far hasn't worked, and we're looking at it from a different point of view, trying to figure out what has this stuck. What do I need to make adjustments to in order to get this unstuck so it can move forward the way I want? The problem with the Hanged Man energy is that they're looking at things from a different perspective. And things are always external to us. It's similar to the Hermit in that they're both trying to figure out what to do moving forward from here. The difference is in where their focus is placed. And in the Hermit, they're looking inside themselves. They're looking at me for what adjustments do I make about myself so things can move forward the right way. And this is someone who's looking outside of themselves at external things. What out here has me stuck? What do I blame this on? Whose fault is this? What out here needs fixed so that I can get what I want? And sometimes that's someone playing the blame game. It's not my fault this isn't moving. It's your fault this isn't moving, or something like that. Sometimes it's playing the role of the helpless victim here. But we definitely got something that's trying to be created in terms of combining lives together. And then we have something stopping that progress. So that's the gist of what this is going to talk about. We'll come back to that if we need to. The mutual point of interest is shared energy that affects both of you in some way. It doesn't always affect you the same way. Sometimes they'll do this and you'll feel the consequences, or vice versa. Sometimes they'll say or do something and you'll feel or act this way, or vice versa. Sometimes it's something external. But that shared energy is the King of Cups. This is Scorpio energy. This is usually a person, it's a decision-making person, and it's usually someone who makes their decisions based on their emotions, their intuition. How do I feel about the thing? Not always. It's sometimes it's the person that will like toss their logic and reason out the window and not look at the facts that are in front of them, but instead make decisions about how I feel about it. A lot of times this will represent your person and that you have a lot of love and emotions for them. It can also represent that they have a lot of emotions for you too, but this is a really hard energy to read for most people because the King of Cups doesn't wear his heart on his sleeve. He doesn't publicly broadcast how he feels about things, good or bad. So this can be someone who's madly in love with you and you don't really know because they don't express it the same way that you would. And likewise, it can be someone who's going through emotional turmoil of some kind, and you may not know that either because they don't really share that kind of stuff with people usually. So let's clarify this. Why is that the mutual point of interest here in Scorpio and that person of interest? All right, what we got? Okay, below the surface of the King of Cups, Three of Pentacles. This is Capricorn energy. This is supposed to be teamwork and collaboration and working together as equals to build something of value. It's about working together, trying to lay the foundations for that 10 of Pentacles that we've got 2 cards deep in the overall energy. And then below the surface of that idea of working together as equals to build this, I have the 9 of Swords. This is Gemini energy of fear, worry, anxiety. This is thinking about something over and over again with all this fear and worry behind my thoughts and doing that to the point that it starts to become stressful. This can manifest itself physically as stress, sleepless nights, nightmares, can't concentrate on what I'm doing, can't eat, can't sleep. It's a mental anguish kind of an energy, and you'll see the person on the card has their eyes covered because in their mind the situation is so bad that they don't want to face it. But there's a lot of fear and worry behind this idea of working together as equals. Maybe because this person isn't fully publicly expressing themselves to you about how they feel or what they want. Behind the 9 of Swords, I have the 6 of Cups. This is more Scorpio energy. This is an energy of the past. It's thinking about the past, reminiscing about the past, the good old days, the way things used to be. This can represent what feels like a deep emotional connection that you feel with this person. It can represent a past, like a history between the two of you. It can also represent something from the past coming back up again, something from the past happening again, or even a person from the past kind of popping back up here. I don't know if this is like, we got history in the background, so I don't know if there's some problem with the idea of building something together and you got some fear and worry about that because of something from the past happened or something from the past is being brought back up to the surface here. But we got some definite fear and worry attached to this idea of building something with this person. Now, when I clarify King of Cups, I get 9 of Cups, 10 of Cups, Page of Wands. 9 of Cups is Pisces energy. It's one of those cards where like flip a coin on whether this is good news or bad news. The 9 of Cups is emotionally single energy. It's a step backwards from the 10 of Cups that we're going to get to next. Hell, I might as well just skip to this because this one will make more sense then. In the 10 of Cups, it's also Pisces energy. And this is most people's goal in love and relationships. It's referred to as the happily ever after card, the happy fairy tale ending, happy fairy tale romance. It's that like true love and happily ever after that we all dream about. Most people's goal in life is to create this 10 of Cups, 10 of Pentacles combination where in the physical world we're together and we have everything that we want and need and like we don't want for anything. And then 10 of Cups is like, I love you and you love me back and we're pouring ourselves into each other and it's mutual and it's reciprocated and it's equal. Very rarely is that what this card is telling me we have in one of these readings. Like, and if you zoom out for a second and look at it logically for a minute instead of emotionally, if a person really has the 10 of Cups in their relationship, they're not going to show up and watch a tarot relationship reading because they wouldn't need this. They wouldn't be looking for insight and information about what's really going on in their connection. They would just be out living their happily ever after, and they would have no interest in what I'm doing here. So usually the fact that someone shows up to watch a tarot love reading is proof positive that they don't actually have the real 10 of Cups like they want, which we've got 9 of Cups right before it, which makes sense. Normally, what the 10 of Cups is really representing is someone's idealized point of view about their relationship. In other words, they're looking at it for how they want it to be, how they wish it was. They're looking at it for like the way that they have it imagined in their mind and not necessarily how it actually is. Sometimes this King of Cups energy ends up being you giving too much credit to this person. In other words, I'm not judging this based on the actual behaviors that I've seen as much as I'm judging it on how I feel about this person and what I want this to become with this 10 of Cups. And it's like I'm giving him maybe too much credit, and I'm judging it based on the potential that I see in this and not so much the actual factual data, which is why I'm missing King of Swords and have King of Cups instead. I'm a Scorpio rising, Scorpio North Node. Scorpio rules my first house. Scorpio rules my 12th house. I've got Scorpio or Uranus in Scorpio in that 12th house. So I'm dialed into Scorpio energy. I'm actually a Leo sun, but I feel much more like a Scorpio than I do a Leo most of the time. And yes, okay, King of Cups, sure. But to me personally, I feel much more relatable to the King of Swords most of the time. And it feels a little bit odd that we have King of Cups here, especially when I've got 10 of Cups directly below it here in the shared energy. And what's in front of that 10 of Cups is the 9 of Cups, which is a step backwards from the real 10 of Cups that we want. This is emotionally single energy. It can be emotionally independent. This can be self-love. In other words, I don't need you to show up and, quote, make me happy, because I understand my happiness comes from inside of me, not outside of me. But we did see that Hanged Man energy. Someone's focus is placed external instead of internally. This would be like, I don't need you to show up and make me whole because I already am whole. I don't need you to show up and make me feel worthy of love because I already love myself. I already know I'm worthy of love. I don't need that from an external person. So that would be the positive side of the 10 of Cups. The negative side is if you want, the 9 of Cups. Yeah. The negative side would be if you want the 10 of Cups, you're not there yet. It would also be a person whose personal happiness is more important than yours, or what personally makes me happy is more important than us and what's best for us. So this can be a smug, self-centered, like me, myself, and I kind of an energy, like an overindulgent, self-indulgent kind of an energy here. And the final clarifier for King of Cups is the Page of Wands. Pages are messengers, and Wands are about passion and desire. So this is news and messages and communications about passion, desire, expressing interest, talking about what it is that I want. It's also the minor arcana version of the Fool card. So this is an early stage kind of an energy. It's not the King of Wands, for example. So this is beginning stages of something where we're kind of talking about it, but not really taking action on it here. Being the minor arcana version of the Fool, like the Fool is just that person who takes the blind leap of faith. It's like, okay, I'm just going to leap off this cliff and I'll figure out how to grow wings on my way down. Like I'll figure this out as I go, taking that sometimes crazy risk of just leaping. This is a more toned down version of that energy. This is someone who's not going to leap off the cliff willy-nilly, but they have the willingness to take the first steps down some brand new path towards something they either want or something there's some passion or desire for. So that's the shared energy affecting you both. I'll freely admit at the beginning of these readings, it rarely makes full sense to me. So I will come back to this as I go through your energy, because then I'll be able to see how it applies to you. I'll come back to it again when I go through your person's energy, because then I can see how it applies to them. For you, Scorpio, first card is most important. We get the 4 of Swords, central to your energy, 2 of Pentacles. final card for you is the Six of Pentacles. Four of Swords is Libra energy. This is taking a pause, taking a rest, taking a break. It's like choosing to take a time out and go inside myself to either heal something or to do some thinking about something, like trying to figure something out. It's also a four, and fours are stability type of an energy here. And swords represent the mind, the thoughts. So this would be trying to stabilize my mind, trying to stabilize my thoughts, trying to calm my mind down. I get this a lot when I see the Eight of Swords or the Nine of Swords, and I've got the Nine of Swords right here below the surface of this idea of building this together and being at the early, like, foundation laying stages of building that Ten of Pentacles. So this is usually instructions to, like, shh, calm down. You're thinking too much. There's so much noise and chatter inside your mind that it's usually, like, hard to hear your intuition, hard to hear your internal guidance system. There's just too much chatter happening in here. So let's take a look at that for you. What's this Four of Swords about, please? Okay, I just saw the Five of Cups show itself to me. It didn't come out, it flipped up, showed itself, and then went right back in the deck. So it doesn't mean Five of Cups isn't present. That's Scorpio energy, by the way. It just usually means that someone is trying to contain that energy and not actually let it come out. Five of Cups would be sadness, remorse, regrets, an emotional loss of some kind. It's usually like grieving type of an energy. When I clarify this Four of Swords, what's below the surface of that is the Chariot. This is Cancer's major arcana card. This is the fastest moving energy in the deck. It's very fast forward movement. At its core, it's about trying to overcome the obstacles, trying to get past the problems or the challenges or the stuff that's in the way. And it's trying to get past all that through just sheer willpower alone so we can move forward very fast in success. But there is an imbalance present on the card. The driver doesn't have any reins to control this, and the Black Sphinx represents the shadow side of a person. The White Sphinx represents the light side of a person. And without reins to control it, it's willpower alone. And if both parts of myself aren't pulling in the same direction, this thing is every bit as stuck as the Hanged Man that we see 4 cards down here in the overall energy. It just doesn't go anywhere. Worse yet, if this shadow side is pulling one direction and the light side of me is pulling a different direction, I'm going to tear myself in half as I move forward. It's being torn and conflicted, and maybe 2 different parts of me pulling in different directions. Could even represent that they're pulling in one direction and you're pulling in a different direction. Instead of both of us pulling this damn thing in the same direction, we're kind of playing tug of war with each other. But this is about trying to overcome something here through willpower, and that's probably what you're thinking about. Yeah. This is definitely trying to overcome a problem because I have Temperance behind that. This is Sagittarius major arcana energy. This is an energy of patience. So it can be like not being in a hurry and trying to, like, make some fine-tuning adjustments to something and like try again and see if we can make some more adjustments and get this thing moving forward, get it unstuck from that Hanged Man energy. This is a recalibration kind of an energy. Now, it's not supposed to be a recalibration between you and another person. It's supposed to be a recalibration of your internal world. In other words, your thoughts, your mind, and your emotions. It's supposed to be rebalancing that. I get this card a lot when something is really out of whack, and this is like, let's make some adjustments and recalibrate that. It can also sometimes represent the desire for reconciliation, like getting back together. In tarot, water represents love, and here the love has been separated into 2 different cups, and she's recombining it. I have the Six of Pentacles behind that. This is Taurus energy. This is an energy of balance. It's supposed to be like generosity or reciprocity, like you scratch my back, I scratch your back, we take care of each other. It's equal give and take, it's balanced, it's fair. It's supposed to be that. But sometimes this card can represent the merchant here, meaning your person giving to 2 different people in the physical sense. And notice there's one kind of tucked away behind his back. I do see like this idea of the combined together emotionally energy, but it's also prefaced by this: they're not really in it the same way as me. I'm emotionally individual here, not actually together. And then I've got this willingness to take the first step on something passion related, communications about passion. So we could have that could be the problem lurking in the background, is that somebody's given to two people. When I clarify Four of Swords, I get Two of Cups, the Lovers, and the Ten of Swords. Two of Cups is Cancer energy. This is an emotional connection between two people. It's I breathe you in, you breathe me in, we're connected. But it's also a two, and twos represent choices of some sort. So this is either a choice about this connection, or it can represent a choice between two different people. And then I get the major arcana version of that energy, the Lovers. This is Gemini energy. Now, contrary to what you'll hear on a lot of different YouTube tarot readings, this card has absolutely nothing to do with twin flames. Twin flames aren't even real. I'm not going to get on that soapbox, but I've written an 860-page book on that topic called The Real Truth About Twin Flames, and a whole 400-plus page companion manual that goes with it called Hijacking Ancient Wisdom, that debunks all of these supposed claims that twin flames were talked about from 2,000 years ago by Plato, and it's in the Bible, and it's in this, and it's in that, and all these religious it's all bullshit. None of that is real. Twin flames aren't real. Twin flames didn't get invented until the 1970s, like 1973, by Elizabeth Clare Prophet, who was an actual literal doomsday cult leader. And that's why she made the whole thing up, was to help trap people in her cult. Beside the point, this card, before it was even called the Lovers, it used to be called the Choice, and it represents the interconnectedness between people, not just in an individual human relationship, but also humanity as a whole. We're all on this planet together. We're all in it together, and our choices affect each other, whether we like it or not. And that's kind of what this energy is really about. It can represent that this feels like a powerful connection to you, especially when I have the King of Cups out here, like this person that I have all this emotions for, and that maybe I'm looking at in terms of how I feel about them and the potential that I see in them, instead of like the actual factual data in front of me. And this idealized, more likely fantasy view of how I want the relationship to be and the potential I see in it versus how it actually is. So this can feel like a powerful love connection, but it, like I said, represents the choice about the connection, or a choice between more than one lover here. So I'm trying to take some time here to calm my mind down to figure out the choice about this connection, or possibly a choice about more than one connection. And I get the Ten of Swords as the final clarifier. This is more Gemini energy. This is a swift, painful ending. Sometimes it's an ending you didn't see coming, which is why the swords are in your back. Sometimes this represents an ending in betrayal, hence getting stabbed in the back. But no matter how you slice this, it's an ending to something. So if we have what feels like a powerful love connection, this is screaming it's dead, which is probably why we're trying to overcome the problem, probably why we're trying to figure out how to reconcile this, how to blend it back together and make the necessary adjustments, try to balance it out. I don't think I went deep enough, because the next card's the Emperor. This is Aries Major Arcana energy. This is an energy of control. It's about taking control, taking charge of a situation, putting together a plan to get what I want, execute the plan to get what I want. This is very rarely the person that I'm reading for. More often than not, this is the other person, and them actually being in control of this connection and the choice of it. Maybe they're the one that ended it. This is the person who calls the shots and makes the rules and sets the boundaries on things. Like, they dictate policy here. So this idea of overcoming and like reconciling and balancing it out doesn't necessarily seem to be under your direct control, because again, you're in this connection with another person, and their choices affect you. Your choices affect them, but they don't actually control them. So if this is a spot where you want to reconcile it, that doesn't really make it so that things can be reconciled, because they have to be in it with you together equally. It can't just be, but this is what I want. Central for your energy here is the Two of Pentacles. This is Capricorn energy. Again, it's a two, it's a choice. And this is a choice between these two physical things that I can't have both of at the same time. So it's weighing the options. It's looking at the pros and the cons. It's asking questions like, do I want this one or that one? Do we or don't we? Should we or shouldn't we? Will they or won't they? It's some undecided thing. And it's a lot of times back and forth, flip-flopping, 1 foot in, 1 foot out, not fully got my mind made up kind of an energy. And unfortunately, because this person is juggling two physical things that can sometimes represent juggling more than one person. We did just see the Six of Pentacles here, which is, he's got two people he's given to here. And I'm getting ahead of myself a second, but your next card is also that Six of Pentacles again. So I've got two cards in a row here in your energy that can indicate there's more than one person involved. And these first two cards can also indicate that same thing. And then this card can indicate a betrayal happening. So let's clarify this Two of Pentacles for you. What's going on with that? Why is that the central energy here? Below the surface of Two of Pentacles, the Sun. Leo's major arcana card. This is the happiest card in the deck. It's happiness, joy, bliss, harmony. Really hard to get a better card than that in a relationship reading when that's what it's talking about. Now, this could indicate that you have a lot of happiness tied to this person, tied to the connection between the two of you. If you look at the solar system we're in, the sun is in the center and all the planets are stuck in its orbit because the sun has all this gravity. It has all this gravitational pull and the planets can't escape from it. So this can sometimes represent that I feel all this happiness and all this pull toward this connection. It can also represent illumination, exposure. So in the story of the major arcana, the card that comes right before this is the moon. And when the moon's out, it's dark outside, which means things can be hidden from you. Things can be hidden in the dark. There could be a secret of some kind, something you don't know about. The next step is the sun. And when the sun comes up, it's not dark anymore. The light gets shined on all that stuff that was hidden from you and it gets illuminated. It gets exposed and now I can see it for what it is. And we're clarifying what could be juggling two people. Could also just be some sort of a decision that you're flip-flopping back and forth on here. You got Six of Swords right behind the sun. This is Aquarius energy of moving forward into calmer waters. It's about leaving these rough, choppy waters of the past behind and moving forward into clarity, moving forward toward what it is that I actually want. But there are some implications with this card. First, it's the Six of Swords, which implies the Five of Swords has already happened. And the Five of Swords is a betrayal. It can be a big fight. It can be a mentally and psychologically painful situation or event happening. And this is about that's already occurred. And I can't change the past. The past has already happened. This is really about where your power is in what you choose to do moving forward from here. And the woman and the child with all the swords in the boat can represent a burden being carried forward. So the real choice, the real power in this card is, as I move forward into the future, am I going to carry the burden that that painful situation caused me into my future with me so it keeps weighing me down and holding me back? Or am I going to carry forward the lesson I learned by going through that painful thing so something like this doesn't happen again? This Two of Pentacles is a balance energy, but it's more about trying to maintain my balance, trying to get my balance back once it's been thrown off, once I've lost it. Now, when I clarify that, I get Four of Cups, Judgment, Queen of Swords, Queen of Pentacles. Four of Cups is Cancer energy. This is about not being fully emotionally happy or content with what I have right in front of me. So much so that I'm daydreaming about this other cup, this other thing that if I had that, then I would be happy. Again, that's bringing me back to this Hanged Man energy, 4 cards deep in the overall energy. That's looking outside of myself for what's the problem. Looking outside of myself. If the problem is outside of me, the solution must also be outside of me. And this is that external thing where if I had that, then I would be happy. Now, notice they're looking at 3 cups, and that's what they're not satisfied with. The 3 cups represents being together, being united and celebrating, or even being reunited, getting back together. And if I don't have that, or something's wrong with it, something's missing from it, but if I had that, then I could be happy, which it might be why you're off balance. Now notice it's sitting beside the 2 of Cups, which again can represent a choice about this connection or the fact that there might be another connection in the background here. In that case, the 3 cups can also represent third-party love triangle. And I'm not happy that someone else has been brought into our connection, and this other cup could be that other person, and I can't get that out of my head now. Next clarifier for 2 of Pentacles is Judgment. This is the most powerful decision card in the deck. It's about passing a final verdict and judgment on something, making a final decision. In a relationship, this is either A, we're calling it dead and over and there is no coming back, or B, it can be the decision to try to resurrect it, to try to call it back from the grave and bring it back to life. It's sitting right beside the Lovers. So there is some sort of an interconnectedness here related to this decision. Now, that could mean they passed judgment on this connection and that was the choice that was made, and that's having an effect on you. It could also mean that you are wanting to resurrect this connection. But again, there's interconnectedness here. And I saw the Emperor representing them, which is probably an indicator that, well, yeah, if you had the big magic easy button and you could just push it and make it any way you wanted it to be, we'd be back together. But it's not that simple because they have a say in the matter too. Next, we have the Queen of Swords. This is Libra energy. This is she who knows the truth. She's about discernment, being able to tell true from false. She's about being able to tell right from wrong. She's also about facing the truth and speaking the truth. And she uses the sword to cut away something or someone that is no longer in her best interest. Now notice she's got her head above the clouds here. The clouds represent emotions, confusion, clouded decision making, obscured vision of some sort. And I've got this idea of King of Cups, which means, yeah, I have all these strong feelings for them, but I might be giving them more credit based on how I feel and their potential. Same with this 10 of Cups here, because it looks like before the 10 of Cups is this single energy where it's not necessarily the way that you want it to be or the way that you feel it should be. This would be facing the truth of that and being able to finally tell the difference between how I want it to be versus how it is. Or, like the fantasy version of it that I've simulated in my mind since the beginning versus the reality version of it of what is actually in front of me. A lot of times she will represent we have a very difficult conversation where truth gets spoken and maybe it's cutting and maybe it's painful, but there's usually a severing that takes place here. And it's right connected to judgment, and it's also connected to 10 of Swords, swift, painful ending, something being put down here. Final clarifier for 2 of Pentacles is Queen of Pentacles. This is Capricorn energy. It's a wife type of an energy. Again, doesn't have to be legally married wife. This can represent stable, committed girlfriend. It can represent fiance, woman that I live with, woman that I'm trying to build my life around. I do have 10 of Pentacles and King of Pentacles here below the surface of the overall energy before we get to the stuckness of the Hanged Man. So the King and the Queen of Pentacles work together as equals. We saw that 3 of Pentacles earlier to build the 10 of Pentacles. So we've got this idea of trying to create this combined together life with this person, viewing them as like the counterpart to your Queen of Pentacles. The problem here is I'm clarifying a card about like that can be about juggling two people or having to choose between two physical things that I can't have both of. And a woman is a physical thing, and I've got two queen energies right here. And hence that we have another person involved. So I don't know if this is you or if they have another person they're already committed to. I don't know if maybe they're married or living with somebody, or they have a serious commitment with someone where they've combined lives together with them already, or if that's you and now we have a choice between you and someone else showing up. I do see like early stages of communicating interest, desire, passion, talking about what I want, taking the first steps in that direction. Final card for you, Scorpio, Six of Pentacles. We already talked about this. Taurus energy. Supposed to be reciprocity. It's supposed to be equal give and take and balance. But it can represent the merchant giving to two people. Nice, please. Okay. I just had Eight of Cups flip up, show itself, go back in. So that's twice that's happened now. That's someone trying to contain that Eight of Cups is emotionally detaching and sometimes physically walking away. It's about thinking the grass might be greener on the other side of the fence and maybe I should go find out. And from your perspective, it would also be about take a good, long, hard look at this without the feelings clouding things up, like getting your head above the feelings and the fantasy. And I don't mean fantasy in an insulting way. I mean like fantasizing about something, like thinking about what I want and experiencing the feelings of that. That's what I mean there, because that looks like what's happened about this connection, looking at it for the potential that I see in it and the way I have envisioned it in my mind. Below the surface of this, I think I was still telling you the Eight of Cups. So what that means is take a look at this and get out of that visualizing it, get out of the fantasy piece of it and look at the factual data of it. Get your head above the clouds and have discernment and look at the reality of it. And that Eight of Cups is really like, Eight Cups is the best I've gotten. I want my ninth cup. I want my 10th cup, but I'm not getting that here. And you're probably not going to get it there because this person probably isn't capable of giving you what you want, what you need, what you deserve. And the Eight of Cups is about recognizing that and making that difficult conscious choice to detach from it emotionally, to walk away from what you have with them, to go down a new path in search of your ninth and your 10th cup, like the real personal happiness, the real I'm already happy, I'm already whole, I already love myself. Because the only way to get to the real 10 of Cups is you have to be there first, and so does the person you're with. Because if your cups are full and their cups are full and you don't need each other to be happy, but you're pouring your love into each other anyway, that's what overflows the cups, and that's what fills up the 10th cup. The 10th cup is mutual, it's reciprocated, it's you pour your love into them and they pour it back into you with the same amount of vigor and intensity as you're doing it. And the Eight of Cups would suggest that that's not how it actually is. Now, again, it didn't come out. It flipped upright, showed itself to me, and went back in the deck, which means you're probably trying to contain that idea. Probably not wanting to look at it. Again, I saw Nine of Swords earlier where there's something wrong here, but I don't want to look at it. I don't want to see it. Below the surface of this, either the idea of trying to balance it out so it's equal give and take, or the merchant giving to two, I have the Emperor again. So this is the person who's in control of the balancing it out. You can't balance it out by yourself. They have to be willing to do this equal give and take routine with you. And the Emperor typically ain't the dude who does that, because damn it, I'm the Emperor. I'm the boss. I'm the most important one. Which again, Nine of Cups can mean my happiness is more important than your happiness. What I want is more important than what you want. What I want, what's best for me, is more important than what's best for us. Yeah. And behind that is the Chariot. The idea of being able to overcome this is blocked by what they want. Do they want to overcome it? Because you can't do it by yourself. And you also can't make them do anything. Like, look at how hard it is to change your own habits. You know, like if you want to stop chewing your fingernails off, or stop smoking, or stop drinking, or even start exercising, or start eating better. How fucking hard that is to do when it's you and you have absolute control of yourself and you have zero control over them. The best you can hope for is to like persuade and influence them. But even then, it's still up to them. Now, when I clarify Six of Pentacles, I get the High Priestess, Queen of Wands, King of Pentacles. Ugh. High Priestess. This is she who knows. I said Queen of Swords is she who knows the truth. This is she who knows, period. She represents your unconscious mind. She represents the intuition, the gut feelings. Now, when I say intuition, I don't mean, you know, the fantasy fiction version of intuition that you hear all over YouTube, spiritual space and the tarot space. Like, most people try to present intuition as if it's this magic superpower, or it's like this spiritual gift that only a select few of us have and the rest of us don't have it. And that's fantasy fiction. That's not what intuition is. Intuition is part of your unconscious mind. There's a thing called the reticular activating system that is a big part of intuition. It's the internal pattern recognition system, the internal guidance system that all human beings come pre-wired from the factory with. And this would say that your intuition has noticed a pattern of some sort. You ever walk into a room and can immediately feel the tension in the room, even though no one said a word yet? And it's just like, oh shit, it's heavy in here. Or you meet a brand new person and they've said nothing wrong, they've done nothing wrong, but you just get that gut feeling like there's something wrong with this person. I don't like them for some reason. I'm picking up a bad vibe off of this person. That's your intuition. That's your internal, your unconscious mind recognizing a pattern way before your conscious mind can even notice it or put words to it. You don't even know how you know, you just know. And that's what this is about. Something is off with balance. Something is off with the potential of them giving to two people. There's something going on here where I'm not fully happy, and yes, there's probably an external thing that you're attached to that is missing here. But this is also, I can't get this thing out of my mind here. And it's probably related to another person. This is usually one of those spots where I don't actually have the facts. I didn't see them doing it. I don't have video evidence of them doing it. But I got this hunch. I got this internal knowing that something fishy is going on. Next clarifier for Six of Pentacles is Queen of Wands. This is Aries energy. This is the fire element queen. In other words, the hot queen, the queen that there's all this passion and desire and attraction and sexual energy for. This is usually someone who is charming and good looking and fun to be around and kind of like the life of the party. Your intuition is picking up on that. She's in the same row with a choice between more than one lover. Like 9 times out of 10, this represents the other woman. And in the middle between the choice between lovers and the other woman is the final verdict being passed. Like, this dead and over with. Even back to that first column, last clarifier, 10 of Swords. Swift, painful ending. Ending I didn't see coming. Didn't see it. I could feel something was off. Ending in betrayal. Like, if you're with them and you have already combined lives together, and maybe this is the husband, maybe this is the person you live with, or maybe you just saw it going down that path, and maybe that's where your idealized point of view comes from. It would be a betrayal if we got another woman showing up. In fact, I have 3 queens out here in the energy. Doesn't necessarily mean there's 3 different women involved, although there could be. 2 of those could just be different elements of yourself, but one of them is almost certainly someone that isn't you. Final clarifier for Six of Pentacles is King of Pentacles. We just saw that 3 cards deep here. King of Pentacles isn't necessarily supposed to be pairing up with the other woman here. King of Pentacles is supposed to be pairing up with Queen of Pentacles, because these are the two people that do the equal give and take, that do that Three of Pentacles, that build this Ten of Pentacles. But behind him is the Hanged Man. Something is stopping this, and it's something external, and they could be playing the blame game. They could be playing the helpless victim. Well, it's not my fault I got this other hot chick on the side. It's your fault, because if you wouldn't have talked to me the way that you did, if your words wouldn't have been so cutting, or whatever the problem was, it feels like she's involved, and they might not be accepting their role in that. They might be blaming it on you or blaming it on her. Like, well, if she wouldn't have walked by looking all good, then this wouldn't have happened. They're blaming it on something that's not them. Clearly, they were communicating. Here's their energy. First card is the most important. Ace of Wands, central for them, strength. Final card came out as 3 all at once in a big blah. We got 7 of Wands, 9 of Pentacles, 10 of Wands. That doesn't look pleasant either. Ace of Wands. This is a passionate new beginning. A new beginning in passion and desire. This wand is the phallic symbol of the deck. It represents the male you-know-what, using it to do you-know-what, sexual energy, all that fun stuff. Take a look at that. That's usually the spark of some passionate new thing, and it seems to be over here on your side, and intuition is picking it up. What's going on with this Ace of Wands? Holy shit. Below the surface of that, the Sun. Saw this already. Happiest card in the deck when that's what it's talking about. It's Leo Major Arcana energy. The other meaning is this is illumination. Like after the moon, when something's hidden from you, the sun comes up and now I can see it. It's not dark anymore. It's not hidden. It gets exposed. 9 of Swords. Fear, worry, anxiety, and stress. This is them probably fearful and worried and anxious that it's going to get exposed, that they've started a passionate new beginning. That's what that's looking like here. Now, even though I'm on their side of the table, I do have to be real with you. Tarot is not a magic window that you can just like look through and see into the future. It's not what it is, and it's not what it's ever been. And I know that's how most YouTube tarot presents it, like it's a fortune telling tool that they can use to look into the future and tell you what's going to happen, or they can look at this person and tell you how they feel or what they're going to do in the future. That's all complete fantasy bullshit too. None of that is real. Tarot is not a window that you look through to see into the future. It's a mirror, and it reflects you back to yourself. It shows you your energy. It shows you your patterns. It shows you the stuff that's really going on. It shows you your truth so you can see it more clearly. And so you can stop waiting for the external world to adjust around you and start looking at yourself in the mirror and seeing, okay, now I can see my pattern a little more clearly. I can see what's going on more clearly. Now I can make some adjustments to myself and get closer to the type of life that I want to live. That's what tarot really is. So even though I'm on their side of the table and we're looking at them, this is actually a reflection of you, which is the only reason why I can even pick up anything off of them here. It's not magic. This is just part of what's in you. So this could be that there's this passionate new beginning and you intuitively can feel it. You know it's there. And this could be fearful and worried and anxious about it getting illuminated and exposed, almost like I keep seeing here with, but I don't want that to be true. I don't want to see that. I hope that's not the case. And I get it, but there's definitely something fishy going on. Now, when I clarify Ace of Wands, I get 5 of Swords, the Hermit, 7 of Cups, 5 of Swords. We referenced that when I saw 6 of Swords earlier. This is, 5s are conflict. So this can be a conflict in words, a verbal conflict, a big fight, words being used like weapons. This can represent a person who has this winning at all costs attitude. Like, I'm going to get what I want no matter what. Collateral damage is okay with me. If you get hurt, that's your problem. I'm getting what I want, and what I want is a wand here. I want the wand to get some exercise. This can even represent a betrayal, which we saw with the Ten of Swords over here. So next clarifier for the Ace of Wands is the Hermit. This is Virgo's major arcana, and I referenced that when I was telling you what the Hanged Man means. Again, they're both about trying to figure out what to do moving forward from here. The difference is in where they look. The Hanged Man is looking outside of himself. The Hermit is looking inside of himself. This is soul searching. It's deep inner reflection, deep contemplation, trying to figure out what to do moving forward from here based on what do I need to change about me in order to do that. I get this card a lot when communication shuts down between two people. I get this card a lot when you get ghosted. I get this card a lot when they've started something new and betrayed you and you don't have closure on it. So yes, again, even though we're on their side of the table, this is a reflection of you. Like, you don't choose to go into the Hermit. Something happens and it forces you to do soul searching. Betrayal can certainly do that. Mental and psychological pain can do that. The Ten of Swords can do that. A choice between lovers can do that. I got a lot of stuff out here that can totally cause you to go into hermit mode. And this is telling you to stop looking outside of yourself for the problem. Sure, this person displays problematic behavior. Absolutely. And that is a problem. But this is telling you to stop looking at them and start looking at your role in the situation, because you're the one suspended. You're the one hung upside down and not moving forward here. And this is telling you to look inside yourself for, if a person behaves this way and they treat me this way and I'm giving them all of this credit, I have all these emotions for them, I'm looking at them for all this potential that I see in them, yet their behavior doesn't match that. This is asking you to look at yourself and ask, what about me is so hell-bent on giving them this credit that they're not worthy of? Why am I willing to tolerate betrayal based just on potential that I see? I mean, it's great, don't get me wrong, that you see potential in another human being and that you want to give them credit for it and that you have feelings for them. All of that's fine. But you can find potential in literally any human being on the planet. Hell, look at Adolf Hitler. As a little kid, we could have seen potential in him. But look at his behavior. Even as an adult, he probably had some redeeming qualities, although I don't want to look at that, but he probably did. And we could have focused on his potential instead of his behavior. But he did some horrendous things. And it looks like this person has done some horrendous things to you. And this is telling you to look at yourself for, why am I tolerating that? What about that? What about this whole situation allows me to keep myself stuck waiting on someone to balance this out, waiting on someone to do the equal give and take thing with me, waiting on them to show up the same way that I am? And this Nine of Cups, if you really were in the Nine of Cups, that would prevent you from doing that. So I think this is telling you to stop looking at the Ten of Cups, because that requires an external person to show up in the correct way. And this is saying, look at your own cups, and why aren't your own cups full? And what do you need to do to fill them up yourself? Because they can't fill them up for you. Another person can't fill your cups for you, but they can sure as fuck drain them for you. And that's kind of what this is starting to look like. A person is draining you and you're not removing yourself from the situation, is what it looks like. And I think this is telling you to look at that and find out why. Look at this idealized point of view that you have and see, does it match the reality of what I'm seeing here? Does their behavior match the potential that I'm giving them credit for? Final clarifier for this Ace of Wands passionate new beginning is the Seven of Cups. This is Scorpio energy. This is options and choices and confusion about those choices. A lot of different cups here, a lot of different ways this could play itself out, and I don't want to pick the wrong cup and make a mistake. But this is an illusionary kind of an energy. Not only are there a lot of cups here, every one of those cups have something in it. And just as an example, there's a dragon in this cup. Dragons aren't real. Dragons are fictional things. They're in stories, they're in movies, but they're not real. And this is sometimes one of those kind of an energies where not only I'm having trouble picking which cup, but I'm having trouble telling which one of these is even real or not. The clouds of smoke can represent my emotions that I feel for this person are clouding my judgment. They're clouding my decision making. But notice we got Queen of Swords here and her head is above the clouds. She can see it. She's about discernment. And I feel like this is telling you to exercise your discernment. Stop looking at it for how you want it to be and look at it for how it is in reality in front of you. The clouds of smoke can also represent someone blowing a smoke screen up your ass, trying to prevent you from seeing the fact that they have other options. And the other option is here, and she's connected to your intuition, your pattern recognition system. And if this person is already aware that you don't actually have the facts, you just have this hunch, you just have this gut feeling, a lot of times I get this and they start blowing a smoke screen, and that's them trying to gaslight you, trying to make you doubt yourself, trying to make you doubt the reality that's in front of you, because you're easier to control that way. You're easier to manipulate that way. That's why narcissists will gaslight you to begin with. They need you to doubt your reality so that you just blindly accept the one they're handing to you. And that's what this is feeling like. Central to your person's energy here is strength. This is the other Leo Major Arcana card. This represents going through something very difficult, a difficult situation where they're being forced to dig down inside themselves and tap into their internal strength. Or more likely, this is, again, a reflection of you being forced to dig down inside yourself and tap into your internal strength to make it through this. You have the strength to make it through it. You're just going to be forced to dig down in there and find it and claim it and put it to use. Now, the other thing this can represent from their perspective is it's a person who's trying to tame this beast inside themselves, trying to rein themselves in, trying to hold back this urge or this impulse or this primal desire that they have, and trying to contain that so they don't make a mistake and screw something up. Problem with that is it's coming in the wrong order. The wand is already out here. The betrayal is already out here. And now after I've done it, now I'm trying to contain myself. And that's the wrong. You should contain yourself first so you don't do it. And I don't think they did. Why is strength here, please? Below the surface of strength, temperance. Again, patience. This could be I'm going through the difficult shit over this person and I'm trying to be patient because I want to reconcile. I want to take this love that's been separated and blend it back together. Could be that. But this is also talking about something that's heavily out of whack and it needs recalibrated. And again, that doesn't mean a recalibration of the connection. This is a recalibration of your internal world, which again is why you're getting the Hermit telling you to look inside yourself. That's why you're getting the 9 of Cups before the 10 of Cups, because you can't ever get here until you get here first. This is a recalibration of you. Yeah. The other thing that's out of whack that needs recalibrated is this idea of trying to move forward successfully with them, trying to overcome the problem or challenge with them. Because yes, while part of the problem and challenge is their stupid behavior, a bigger part of the problem and challenge for you is the external focus and thinking that I need this other person in order to be happy or in order to be whole. That's a bigger problem. It's also a big problem trying to overcome a challenge with someone who clearly is displaying this type of behavior and probably is looking at this like, yeah, but I'm more important than you, so just shut up, Even behind it, I get the 3 of Cups, which, yeah, is probably trying to reconcile again, trying to get back together. But it's also 3 cups of love are in the picture. That's a third person is involved here, which is why it's so difficult. And it's also them having something way out of whack inside themselves, some sort of an internal imbalance inside themselves where this shadow side of them is pulling a whole different direction. And that's probably what led to 3 cups of love being in the picture. And then there's that fucking emperor right behind it again. Them being in control, them being in charge. Which, yes, if your only goal is to get back with this person, then yeah, they're in charge of it. But that doesn't mean they are in charge, period, because you could choose to not make that your goal. Like, again, that's an external thing. And where people get screwed up is what we really want is this, the 10 of Cups. I want to love this person, and I want that person to love me back the exact same way. I want us to be in it together where we love each other and we're in it together and we're both happy and we're both fulfilled. That's what we really want. But where we get fucked up is we get so externally focused on the other person. I don't just want love that's returned to me and that's equal. I want this person right here to do that. But you can't control them. They're in control of them. And as long as you place all of your happiness on them, all of your personal happiness attached to them, we've seen the sun at least twice now, all of your happiness attached to them and what they do, then you're never going to be in control of your own happiness. They're going to be in control of it. And if they choose to leave, guess what? They're taking your happiness with them because you've placed it in their pocket instead of inside yourself where it belongs. That is something that maybe you need to look at reining in. It's like, why do I do that? Why do I put all of my happiness on the other person instead of inside of me where it belongs? But it looks like they couldn't contain themselves and rein themselves in. When I clarify that, I get the Ace of Pentacles, 10 of Wands, 9 of Wands. Ace of Pentacles is a new physical, tangible opportunity presenting itself. A physical opportunity. This is not an idea. This is a thing that I can touch. That opportunity is tied directly to the idea of betrayal. It's also the thing they were trying to rein themselves in from. An opportunity was placed in front of me, probably with this hot chick or this chick that I have attraction and desire for. Next clarifier for strength is the 10 of Wands. This is Sagittarius energy. This is a heavy burden that's being carried. It's something weighing you down. It's holding you back. For them, part of that burden is opportunities presenting themselves and not being able to contain myself. And that causes a heavy burden. And until they fix that, they're never going to be free. The other thing that could be a heavy burden here is looking for this opportunity with them to overcome things and to balance it out. And that's not where the opportunity is for you. The opportunity for you is inside yourself. Now, also, burden is attached to that. You're being instructed to go inside yourself and look at the burden. This is a 10, and in tarot, 10s are completions. This is supposed to be the spot where you lay this burden down and move on without it. In other words, where I release this. 9 of Wands is next. More Sagittarius energy. This is a walled off defensive energy. This is also the wounded warrior, so it's an energy of healing. He's been hurt. Hence this wall he's built around himself. It's a defense mechanism. It's his way of protecting himself so he doesn't get hurt anymore. He's been hurt. He doesn't want to keep getting hurt. That could be a burden too for you. It's also sometimes just a barrier that's in my way. And we've seen the Emperor repeatedly. He's the person who puts the barriers in place. He makes the boundaries. He sets the rules. He calls the shots. And part of that barrier is that I can't see these other options. I can't see what's even real here anymore. I'm confused. I'm clouded. Maybe they're blowing a smoke screen, and that's preventing you from actually releasing this and laying it down and moving on. Hell, your feelings about them might be part of that barrier. The idealized point of view about what I want this to be and the potential I see in it might be a barrier. Final card for your person, we get 7 of Wands, 9 of Pentacles, 10 of Wands. 7 of Wands is Leo energy. There's 2 energies of defensiveness in the deck. Here's both of them, 9 and 7 of Wands. This is defending my position, defending my stance, being willing to fight to protect something that I want, something that's important to me, something I believe in, fighting for something here. Also can be defensive energy, especially when I got the Queen of Swords over here on your side. That's where, like, we're going to have this talk here. I'm going to ask you some questions, and they're like, no, it's not me. I'm not doing that. No, there is no other woman. And they're like ducking and dodging and bobbing and weaving and deflecting. Can be that kind of an energy. 9 of Pentacles is Virgo energy. We saw the 10 of Pentacles 2 cards deep here. What you're trying to create is this combined together life. And just like this 9 of Cups of the happily ever after, this fairy tale romance that I want, but in reality I've got 9 cups. It's not there. It's a step backwards. And same with the 9 of Pentacles. This is a step backwards from the 10 of Pentacles. This is not combined together life. This is physically single, physically independent. Now, do I think for a second this person was actually single when this betrayal happened? Well, no, because it wouldn't be a betrayal then. It would just be them getting some ass, and that wouldn't be a fucking problem. But this is not always a person who is single. Sometimes it's a person who's not single, but they present themselves like they are. And then I get the 10 of Wands, which again, we've seen central to their energy over here, the heavy burden that's weighing them down and holding them back. Like, to me, what this feels like is being in a connection, not being single, is the heavy burden that's weighing me down and holding me back. And I want to fight to get this idea of me either being single or being able to present myself as same. Tell me about this, please. What's going on with this final 3 cards here? You'll notice they don't want to talk now. We'll have to shuffle again. That's cool. Can't hide from me. So many have tried and so many have failed. What do we got here? Below the surface, there's Temperance again. Something is severely out of whack over here. They need to be recalibrated, but you can't recalibrate them. You can only recalibrate you. Yeah, here's the part that's out of whack that needs recalibrated. 6 of Pentacles. The Merchant giving to 2 people. One's behind his back. 8 of Cups. Emotionally detaching. Physically walking away. Walking off to see if the grass is greener on the other side of the fence. Because I'm not convinced that what I have is everything that I want. I think there might be something better out there for me. Again, though, if what you're looking for is to recalibrate and get yourself balanced back out, this is advice for you. And it's to take a look at, like, the idea, like, go back to childhood and the happily ever after and what true love looks like and what real commitment looks like. Get that picture solidified in your mind, and then look at what you have with this person. And do those 2 things match? Are they the same? Or are they different? And if they're different, this is saying you have to make the conscious choice to walk away from this, to go down the new path, to get to the real 9 of Cups, your own wholeness, your own happiness, your own fulfillment, because that's what leads to the real 10 of Cups, not this fantasy version of the 10 of Cups. When I clarify 7 of Wands, 9 of Pentacles, 10 of Wands, I get King of Swords. 5 of Pentacles, 3 of Wands, 8 of Pentacles. King of Swords. This is the counterbalance. This is Aquarius energy. It's the counterbalance to this King of Cups. That's the shared energy. This is the very smart, logical, rational, analytical, thinking mind, cerebral, intelligent person. It's also the person who, when they make decisions, they toss these emotions right out the window. I don't give 2 shits how anybody feels. I'm looking at the truth. I'm looking at the facts. I'm looking at what's right in front of me and what can I see and verify with my own eyes. and I'm going to decide based on that. That seems like pretty good advice for you. Now, in terms of them, this is a person who is emotionally distant, emotionally detached, maybe even cold and calculated. That's the kind of person who makes decisions in their own best interest, and I got what's right in front of them is a physical opportunity, and that physical opportunity leads them to betray you. That's the truth and facts that you probably are supposed to be focusing on much more so than, but I love him, or but I feel this way, or but there was so much potential. Was so much potential that they didn't live up to, which means it was empty potential. And that's another meaning to the Ace of Pentacles. You got to grab it. You got to do something with it. Otherwise, it represents empty potential. Empty potential is not the same thing as fulfilled potential. Next clarifier here, 5 of Pentacles. More conflict. This is abandonment. This is being cast aside. It's being discarded, walked away from. This is a breakup energy. And there's a burden tied to that. And there's soul searching tied to that. And yeah, that's probably something that you're going to need to heal from. That might be something that you don't have closure about yet. But closure isn't something they can give you either. Closure is something you create for yourself. Next clarifier is the 3 of Wands. This is Aries energy of essentially waiting. This is where I know what I want. I've already started taking steps down the path I believe leads me to what I want. And I have this positive expectancy that the thing that I want is going to happen. It just hasn't happened yet. I don't think the thing you're waiting on is abandonment. I think the thing you're waiting on is the reconciliation aspect after the abandonment happens. But the problem is there's a barrier tied to that. In other words, part of what's actually in your way is that you're still waiting on this person to recalibrate themselves instead of you recalibrating yourself. And there's all this emotional confusion attached to it. Final clarifier here is the 8 of Pentacles. This is Virgo energy. Notice how we're going backwards. At the very beginning, we started with the 10 of Pentacles. Then in this last column, one of the main cards is the 9 of Pentacles, a step back from the combined togetherness. Now we're going backwards again. Well, actually, we've gone backwards twice here in the physical sense. This is the card of work and putting in the work and the time, effort, and energy to get what I want, or at least being willing to do that. The problem is it's in a row all by itself, which means I don't know what they're working on. You don't know what they're working on. Over here on your side, you also have one card in a row all by itself. This idea of being wife or being committed girlfriend that they're building a life around, centerpiece of the home and family, yet there's nothing on either side of it. What's above the gap on this side is the King of Pentacles, the person that you're looking at to do the work with, to build a life together with. But on the other side, above the gap, is the 10 of Swords. Swift ending, painful ending, ending you didn't see coming, ending in betrayal. I think there's some element here of the way that you feel about this person stopped you from seeing the reality that was in front of you. They might have been blowing smoke and confusing you and gaslighting you along with the betrayal. But there's no question there's betrayal, there's pain, there's abandonment, probably neglect, a choice between more than one person. And I think your intuition picked up on it the whole time. But I also think that, I know from personal experience even that 9 times out of 10, your intuition is going to tell you shit you don't want to hear. It's going to tell you stuff that you don't want to be true. And you don't have the facts to support it. It's just a feeling. And it's really hard to trust that, especially when you don't want it to be true. I get it. So we sweep it under the rug. We brush it off. We push it away and pretend like, no, that's not what's happening. I don't want that to be happening. But it looks painfully obvious that that is what happened. And it's looking like the best part of this reading for you is all the stuff that you need to go inside yourself and look at instead of looking to them, because I don't think they're capable of giving you what you want or what you deserve.